What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to go over how to create a responsive hamburger navigation bar using Chakra-UI. Before I get into the video though, I just want to point out that you may have noticed that there is now a join button at the bottom of this video. So I've introduced channel memberships to my channel, and if you want to support me as well as get some amazing perks for yourself, feel free to go ahead and check that out. Simply click the join button and you can see all the perks and watch my introduction video. So if you're familiar with Bootstrap, you know that there is a simple way to create a responsive navbar. In Chakra, we don't have that luxury. So there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this, but the way I'm going to do this is we're going to have our basic navbar, so it'll be wrapped in a flex, and as you make the screen smaller, we will hide that using display and show a hamburger menu. And then when you click that, that will pop up a full page menu. So let's jump into it. So open on my screen right now is the Next.js and Chakra demo. So if you go to the Next.js GitHub and you go to their example section, you can clone this repo. And the only component we're going to be modifying is dark mode switch. And this will work with any React-based framework as well, not just Next.js. First off, let's go ahead and import a couple of more things. So we're going to need some additional components. We're going to need a flex, a button, and an icon button. That's all from Chakra. We're going to need to import useState because we're going to be dynamically changing the display property. We need to import the hamburger icon and the close icon. And finally, we're going to import next link. So the first thing that we want to do is go ahead and change this empty component to a flex. Now if we go and look at what this does, nothing has changed. We still have our dark mode switch in the top right. So essentially what we're going to do now is we're going to add 3 or so nav components. So we'll put a home, about, and a contact right up here, and that will be our desktop navigation. So go ahead and copy these 3 elements here, remove them from the switch, create another flex, and put those properties on that flex. Now inside of here, go ahead and create one more flex, and I'm going to paste in some code. Let me make this a bit smaller. So this is what I pasted in, and all it is 3 nav components. So each one is the same. It is a next link, which wraps a button, which has some styles here, and then the text. If you go back here, this is what we get. Now let's go ahead and copy the switch and put that inside of here, this flex here. Now that's up top here. And the final thing is, let's go on to this flex and we'll give it the align property and set it to center. And that should put everything in the center. So here is our desktop navigation bar. Obviously we don't have an about page. So what we want to do is when we make the screen smaller, this will disappear and a hamburger icon will show up. So let's do that next. To make this disappear, we're going to give it the display property, and we can pass in a list. And if I open up the theme, you'll notice that there are 4 breakpoints. So on large and extra large, we're going to give it display flex, and on small and medium, we're going to give it display none, and that will hide it. So that looks like this. And that's why we wrapped the nav components in that extra flex, so we could add that, because we don't want to hide this switch here. Now if we come back here, and if we make the screen smaller, it should disappear right there. Perfect. So when we disappear, now let's go ahead and add that hamburger icon button. So we'll add that right above the switch. This will be an icon button. Self-closing. We'll give it an error label of open menu. Give it a size of large. Give it a margin right of 2. Push it away from that switch. The icon will be the hamburger menu, or sorry, the hamburger icon, that's what it's called. You can pass any properties you want here. I'm just going to leave it as the default. And then the display will be simply the opposite of this. So here we have none, none, flex, flex. Down here, we want flex, flex, none, and none. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we shouldn't be seeing it. Let's see. Oh, disabled. That should be display. There we go. So we don't see it. If we make the screen smaller, boom, now we see it, and the desktop nav bar disappeared. So the next and final step is when we click this, we want to show the mobile navigation. All right, so let's go down below here, create another flex. Let's paste in our nav bar. That is the same as the top. Let's make this flex the direction equal to column. And we'll align everything to the center. So that's what this looks like right now. So let's copy and paste this flex here and wrap it in one more flex. And on this flex, we're going to need to add some properties to make this overlay the entire screen. To do that, we'll give it a width of 100 view width. We'll give it a background color of gray.50. We'll give it a z-index of 20. We'll give it a height of 100 view height. We'll make that fixed and position it to the top left, which that will cover the entire screen when we pair that with the width and the height. And let's change the overflow to auto and flex direction column. So if you go back here, now it overlays the entire screen. So if you were looking at that on a mobile phone, it would look something like this. So we need a button to close this. We'll put that right here. This will be another flex. It will be an icon button. Give it margin top of 2, margin right of 2. Area label and size, this will be close menu. The icon will be close icon. And on this flex here, we can justify this to flex end. And that will push it to the right. So here's our close icon. So this is looking good. Everything is working. The only thing we have to do now is make this close icon actually work. And we need to make this open menu button work. So to do that, we're going to use useState. Right up here, below these two items, we're going to say const display, comma, change display equals useState none. So now we have a variable for display. We have a method to dynamically change that on the button click, of course, and we're initially setting it to none. So that display is going to go on this flex here. So we'll say display equals to our dynamic variable display. Now, if we go back, there's nothing because it's initially set to none. So what we want to do is on this icon button here, on the open menu button, on click, we're going to change that. So we can use some arrow notation like this, and then we can actually change it right in here. So on click, change it to flex. Now we click it, boom, we see it. Now we need to change this button here. We're going to use the same thing, so I'll copy that, come down here. But on this button click, change it to none, because we want to close the menu. And there we go. So that's working. So just to recap, we start at a desktop view. We get smaller. That menu disappears, and we have a hamburger menu icon. You click that, it fills the entire screen with the mobile menu. And then you can click this to close it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorial content like this.